I never wanted to be someone's fantasy. Not his. My name is Rachel. I'm 46. I've been married to Daniel for nearly 12 years. We've survived job losses, infertility, therapy, everything but the quiet. The kind of quiet that eats a marriage from the inside. Daniel had a son before me. Cameron. He was just a quiet 10-year-old when I met him. I remember thinking how lonely he looked at that age, how much he needed structure, softness, someone stable. And I tried to be that. I really did. Now he's 22. Taller than his dad. Sharper in every way. And I don't know when it changed. Maybe it started when I caught him looking at me in the hallway. Not a boy's glance, something more. Or maybe it was the day he said, "You deserve better, Rachel," when Daniel missed my birthday, again. I should have shut it down. I should have been stronger. But when your husband treats you like wallpaper, and someone else sees you like a painting, you start to forget who you are. And one day, I forgot I was his stepmom. I let him make me feel wanted. I let him in. It was a Sunday. I remember the way the light came through the kitchen window, soft and golden. I was making coffee like always. Same mug, same routine. And then he said my name. Rachel. Not Ratch like his dad calls me. Not hey or ma or any of the distant, casual tones I was used to. It was full. Intimate. Like he was tasting it. I turned, coffee still in hand, and found him leaning against the counter. His hair was messy from sleep, and he was barefoot. There was a pause between us, like neither of us was sure what game we were playing. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. Too quickly. "Yeah. Just tired." "You haven't looked happy in a long time." My breath caught. He wasn't wrong. But he also wasn't supposed to say it. "You don't get to notice things like that," I said with a nervous laugh, trying to turn away. "Why not?" I didn't answer. The silence between us wasn't awkward. It was heavy. Charged. Like the room was waiting for something we weren't ready to say. "I think you deserve more than the way he treats you," he finally said. And the worst part? I believed him. I wanted to be seen, really seen, and somehow, he was the only one looking. That night, I laid awake next to Daniel, staring at the ceiling, hearing my name in Cameron's voice over and over again. Not because he said it differently. But because I felt different when he said it. It was laundry. Of all things, it started with laundry. Daniel had gone to the golf club. Cameron was still home, helping me fold towels. We stood side by side, the silence between us no longer awkward, just aware. I reached into the basket and accidentally brushed his hand. Just a touch. Skin on skin. Nothing more than a second. But I didn't pull away. He didn't either. And I swear the air shifted. Like something invisible leaned in closer. My breath caught in my chest. Not from the touch itself, but from the fact that I wanted more. "Sorry," I said, but it was hollow. I wasn't. He looked at me, really looked. "You don't have to apologize for being human." Human. That's what I felt like around him. Not a wife, not a step anything. Just a woman. A woman whose body still remembered what desire felt like. He handed me a towel, brushing my fingers again, this time slower, intentional. I should have pulled away. Should have snapped at him, walked out, anything. But I didn't. I held the towel like it meant something. I held that moment like it was mine. Later that evening, I watched him from the hallway while he sat on the couch. Same boyish face. Same quiet posture. But nothing felt the same anymore. I should have stopped it there. But once something starts burning inside you, it doesn't just go out. I've lived most of my life pretending. Pretending to be content. Pretending that Daniel and I were still in love. pretending I didn't hear the silence between our words every night. But I couldn't pretend anymore. Not after the way he looked at me that evening. Cameron had just gotten out of the shower. His hair was wet, his chest bare, and a soft towel hung low on his hips. I was walking down the hall when our eyes met. I should have turned away. But I didn't. And neither did he. His eyes didn't flinch. They didn't dart with guilt or shame. They held me there, unblinking, knowing. And for the first time in a very long time, I didn't feel invisible. I felt seen. "You okay?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He nodded slowly. "Are you?" That broke something in me. A dam. A defense. I looked at him, not just as the boy I helped raise, but as the man who now stood before me, unafraid of what he saw in me. "I don't know who I am anymore," I admitted. "I do," he said, stepping closer. "You're beautiful. You're strong. You're lonely, but you don't have to be." That line should have scared me. But instead, it settled inside me like warmth after winter. My hand brushed the doorframe. His hand brushed mine. And for a second, I didn't care who I was supposed to be. I just wanted to feel again. I looked at him, really looked, and whispered, "This can't happen." "Then tell me to stop." I opened my mouth. But no sound came. Because the truth was, I didn't want him to. I told myself it would stop there. That I'd forget his touch, his voice, the way he looked at me like I was something worth craving. But I was wrong. You don't forget something that wakes you up after years of sleep. You don't forget a voice that calls you by your name like it means something. After that hallway, things changed. Not loudly. Not with words. But in the quiet. The way I poured his coffee first in the morning. The way he stood closer than he should have when we passed in the kitchen. The way my breath caught when I heard him moving around at night, knowing we were only one wall apart. I kept thinking about his hands. His voice. His control. I kept telling myself it was wrong. I knew it. But knowing didn't stop the ache. It didn't stop me from wondering what his lips would feel like on the places Daniel hadn't kissed in years. One evening, Daniel left early for a work trip. He didn't even kiss me goodbye. Cameron came home late. I was on the couch in a thin robe, reading, or pretending to. He paused at the doorway. "You okay?" he asked again. He always asked. I nodded, but this time I didn't fake a smile. He walked in slowly, like he was waiting for permission. I didn't give it, not out loud. But I didn't stop him either. He sat beside me. Close. His knee touched mine. His hand brushed my wrist. And then, he leaned in. Not fast. Not forceful. Just a breath away. Waiting. I should have moved. I should have stood up and walked away. But instead, I tilted my face toward him. And when he kissed me, softly, fully, I didn't stop him. I kissed him back. Because I didn't want to pretend anymore. I wish I could say it was just that one night. I wish I could wrap this story in a bow and say, I made a mistake, and I stopped it. But I didn't. After that first kiss, the line was gone. And once it's gone, you can't uncross it. Cameron didn't leave that night. He followed me to my bedroom. He didn't ask. I didn't say no. I didn't say anything at all. His hands were careful at first. Mine were not. There's something brutal about being touched by someone who wants you, who sees you like you're still alive. Not just existing, not just functioning, but burning. I felt that again. That warmth. That selfish, aching need. And when I woke up with his arm draped across my waist, I didn't pull away. But now I live with the truth. Every time Daniel smiles at me like nothing's changed, I flinch. Every time I pass Cameron in the hallway and feel the ghost of his fingers on my skin, I wonder what we've done to each other. We haven't spoken about it. Not directly. Not in daylight. But the silence is heavier than any confession. I'm not proud of this. I'm not even sure I chose it. Maybe I just gave in to loneliness, to need, to a version of myself I'd buried long ago. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if he'll say something, or if I will. But I do know this. That night, for the first time in years, I felt wanted. I felt alive. And that feeling is hard to forget.